class, today I'm going to show you how to shade using a variety of charcoals. So as you can see on this paper, I have some bigger charcoals, some condensed charcoals, white charcoals, smudge stick, kneaded eraser, and a vine, which is really super blendable. I will be using this photograph to create this demo. So I'm starting to shade my circle with some regular charcoals, and I'm using a smudge stick to blend out my values here to get some lighter tones. So there's a lot of ways you can get a range of value. I'm using a smudge stick to lighten up the darker area. If you get too dark, you can use a kneaded eraser, which is what I'm using right now, to lighten up any area that's too dark. And I really recommend you have a kneaded eraser because it does a really nice job picking up extra charcoal. So the goal here is to go from dark, middle, light tones building into a highlight area. Your highlight area is where the light is directly hitting your object. So like a flashlight or a spotlight is hitting your object directly. It's going to be really light. So as you can see right now, the other way you can get some lighter tones is to add white charcoal. So you can use your kneaded eraser or you can use white charcoal to get some lighter values. So basically, I'm going to go back and forth, blending out and then going back in to add darker values, then blending out and going back in to add lighter values till I get a range that I like to make it look gradual. Okay, now what I'm going to do is add a reflective light. A reflective light is a little highlight that is actually on the surface of your object. It's not on the outside, it's on it at the very bottom. And what the reflective light is going to do is it's going to separate your object from the cast shadow. Because if you don't have a little reflective light there, it's going to look like your object is attached to your cast shadow. So you just want it to be subtle. You want a little area that's on your circle at the bottom where your object meets your cast shadow. If you notice that your edges have fuzzy edges, you want to use an eraser and get clean, solid edges, or use a pencil to really get a definitive edge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to establish a foreground and a background. And I feel like this is a really important thing to do when you're doing still life work, because if you don't do this, it looks like your objects are floating in nothingness. But if you just draw a line like I'm going to do right here, it establishes that your object is on some sort of a surface. So you can kind of separate the background from the foreground, plus it will make a more interesting composition. So it's a good idea. It doesn't have to be a straight line, but to put a line there to establish a foreground and a background to make your object look like it is resting on an actual surface. So that about wraps it up. Just practice using a variety of charcoals. Have fun and have a wonderful week.